All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to our, what month is this? June. I know it's tortoise season, that's all I know. Welcome to our June general meeting. We have a special guest today, Jordan, and I always forget your last name. Swart? Yeah. Jordan Swart from U.S. Geological Survey is going to talk about tortoises, obviously, and the project that we're doing with USGS with hatchlings. And in fact, that's where this little guy is going to go, Cheryl. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah, and then we can get into Jordan's piece.
Thank you, Kobe. So just a brief overview of what we'll be discussing today. We're going to breeze through current events, upcoming events on how you guys can get involved, and then seasonal behavior we'll touch on, and then I'm going to pass it over to Jordan, and he's going to give his presentation. And now I'll be passing it over to Jordan, and I'm really excited to hear what we have to hear about the Head Starting program.
All right, hello. My name is Jordan. I'm with the USGS. I'm the captive herd manager out here in Las Vegas Valley. And so today I'm going to talk to you about our Head Starting volunteer opportunities and just a little bit about our background and history with them. So just a little background information. So I'm going to kind of talk about a little translocation area first. So this blue area here in the outline, that's what is the translocation area. And one more. And so this kind of orangish red color is like the burned area. So back in 2005, we had a lot of wildfires and lightning strikes that kind of hit southern Nevada. And so when those wildfires hit, roughly 27%, or about 35 square kilometers, of that blue area burned, which equals like close to like 7,000 football fields worth, just to give you a sense of scale. And so following that burn, we tried some restoration efforts. So in 2006, we did a lot of seeding, like hand seeding and helicopter seeding, and we tried a lot to get the desert back to where it once was. But we found out that it's really, really hard to do, and the desert is really hard for it to naturally come back to the way it was. So there's a lot of unknowns with juvenile tortoises, and we're trying to figure out, well, if we want, a healthy population on a burned landscape, well, how do we get a population that can actually live out there? So our main question is, well, how do juvenile tortoises respond to a restored habitat? And so that is the main question of our huge experiment that's finally going to get started this fall. Hopefully no more delays due to bad weather. And so this is what we're going to do. So we're going to translocate 60 juvenile tortoises to that same area I was talking about before, to 3 different release sites. So keep clicking, please. So we're going to have seeded burned habitat here. I think a lot of you guys probably helped out with actually seeding some of these sites. We grew a lot of plants in the nursery or in the greenhouse. So I think a lot of people actually here helped out plant out there too. So even then you're helping out with our experiment 1. And then we're going to do 20 tortoises to unseeded burned habitat, and another 20 tortoises to unburned habitat. So we're doing these 3 so we can compare the differences in the tortoises and how they're doing at each different site. That way we can measure if our restoration practices are actually working. So if we keep going, this is how we're going to measure that. So we're going to translocate our 60. So we're going to document the tortoise growth and their behavior, health, and survival. And we're going to monitor them weekly. So we're going to attach these little tiny transmitters that weigh about 3.5, 4 grams. And we'll attach them right under the carapace, and we use that to track where they're going. And once we track them, we're going to figure out what they're eating and how often they're eating that plant at those different sites to see if there's a different selection for what's available. And then we're going to perform our health assessments. So health assessments can include a lot of different things. We'll probably take like blood samples and fecal samples and oral swabs. And we're going to use a whole variety of tools to figure out how well our tortoises are doing on the landscape. So this is where Tortoise Group kind of comes in, helps us with our Head Starting program. So you see in the background, we have volunteers from last year that are helping us out. They're kind of keeping track and seeing which tortoises are on the surface. So now we need your help now. So we have 145 tortoises right now, captive guys, and I think that guy makes 146. So we keep getting them almost like, it seems like every week. So we get a lot of them. So we need your help to help take care of these guys. And so these are some of the things we'll do. So yeah, you can see these guys, they love that tortoise chow that we feed them. They literally climb over each other to get to it. So they love it. They scrape the bowl, they lick it clean basically. So we feed them a slightly different, our vet recommended a Missouri diet. It's called Missouri instead of your grassland. So the grassland is really good for like adult tortoises, but he recommends Missouri diet for our little juveniles. So that guy will probably eventually get the Missouri diet like this. Plus a mix with some annual plants too. And we'll water their plants and record tortoise observations that we have in the background. We'll also do things like pen maintenance, like trimming the plants up. Sometimes they get overgrown. Record any pest observations, like, heard you guys are dealing with ticks. Like, we have some ticks too, so we have to try and just keep that under control. And then assisting the biologists out there, like performing health assessments with us, or recording, or kind of things like that. So basically, we had to double our capacity because last winter we were pretty much overflowing with tortoises. We had so many. So basically had a huge recycling event and reused a bunch of material from a bunch of other projects, and we basically doubled our tortoise carrying capacity. So this is where we're going to be working. All of our volunteers will work in these pens, and this is where we have all of our tortoises now, which is a little different from if you helped out last year. There's a couple other pens, but we'll only work in these pens this time.
Thank you, Jordan. And correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the tortoises the cohort that you guys are going to release this summer came from us, right? I think so. 2016, yeah. Yeah, so we've been doing this since 2016, and I've got 3 tortoises in my kitchen right now. Okay, if you guys have any questions about the volunteer opportunities, please see either me, Sarah, or Jordan. And if you have any other questions, please ask them now. And if you want to say good job to Sarah, please do, because she's awesome.